also had the mentality Latinos are cheap labor. If I'm in Cuba, if I am Cuban, no one is going to want to pay me that kind of money. Everyone is going to think she's Latina, she's Cuban, she comes from a poor country.
And now, after graduating, what is the biggest project that you've booked?
$11,000.
Welcome to the Unapologetic Designer Podcast, where we chat controversial design topics and expose the raw truth about life as a designer. I have a guest here with me today that is going to share one of the most incredible stories that I have ever witnessed. And if you are a designer and you think, I can't book high ticket clients because English isn't my first language, or I'm living somewhere where design is even more undervalued and people are paying pennies, so I can't book high ticket clients, and just have thoughts like that, I encourage you to stay and listen to this person's story. They joined Design Biz Academy University about 6 months ago, and I knew when she joined that she was going to be one of our greatest success stories. So Melissa, do you want to further introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey, my name is Melissa. I am a Cuban graphic designer, and I joined DBA semester 8, I think.
Yeah, I think. I don't even know at this point. And the name of your business is?
While Meli Design, we changed that actually during the DBA semester. I had like Melissa Designer before, but I felt like that wasn't like very original. So I decided to change to Wild Meli Design.
So how did you get started in design?
I was in Cuba. I am in Spain right now, but I was living in Cuba until 2 months ago. So when I had to decide where I was going to go to university, I had no idea. Like I was always really creative, but I didn't knew that design was actually something that you can study at the university. So that was maybe 2015. I was in 12th grade. I had to decide what I was going to study. In Cuba, this is like a really different process that in other countries. They give like 10 different choices. And when I saw the design school, I was like, that's what I want to do. And I wasn't thinking in the other choices. I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And a lot of people told me that it was so difficult to get into design school. I actually remember that the people that was in senior year told me that it was really hard to get to design school. I got in, I was so excited, and I love it, the career, like every second of it. That's the best time of my life.
So after you learned about design and got your skill set, did you go straight into starting your own business, or like what happened after you went to school?
Well, I was in 4th year when we was taking branding classes. And I remember that I sent my project to one of my friends that lived in Miami. And I was sending to her like, look at this is what I made. I don't really like. I was making fun of my project. And she was like, I love it. Like, I have a project that I make it. I want you to make me the logo for this. I did the project for her. Then she had like other ideas. I made more logos. And then her friends asked her who made her logos. And then I made logos for her friends too. I remember that she told me, I have these friends, they have this business, and they want that you to make the logos. I don't know how much do you charge. So I told her like $25.
Oh my God, Melissa.
And I was like, girl, I live in Cuba, and even here, $25 is too little. Like, but anyways, I did it. I did 2 projects for 25, and then 2 more projects for 50, and then I went up to $200.
And so after that experience, did you just keep getting clients? I know that you started your Instagram account at some point and it got pretty big because even when I met you, your Instagram account was already kind of big.
When I was like making these projects for my friend, her boyfriend at the moment told her, you could do a business of this. And she told me, you know what? I'm going to open an Instagram account for you. Because like I say, at that point, in Cuba, the internet was like horrible. We don't
Yeah.
even have cellular connection at that point. So she told me, I'm going to make you an Instagram account. I sent her the designs and she posted it because I couldn't do it.
Wow, that's really
Um,
nice.
yeah, I actually only connect online when I was in school. We had Wi-Fi in the school, so I could connect to the internet. And I think that 1 or 2 years after that, we started to have like cellular connection, and I could like actually start to post my own things. I think it was in 2021. I had the account like 63 followers, and I wasn't posting. And one day I told myself, you know what? I'm going to start posting again on this. I can do it myself now. So I'm going to start doing it. I made a rebrand. When I started, I remember that we called the account Kiss Graphic Design. But once I decided that I was going to start posting, it was COVID time. And I was looking for a lot of accounts on Instagram. I had like this visual education, like more than what I just saw in school. So I changed the name. I made a brand that was with me until DBA. I didn't like it. I just knew I wanted something to have with butterflies. And that's what I did. I had 63 followers for, I don't know, like a year probably. And then I started to grow and I grew a lot. Like I had reels that went viral and I started to get clients from my Instagram account. I also reached to some designers that I was following at the time. And I noticed that the designers in English, they had like a different flow. It was easier to see like designers talking about prices and process in English than in Spanish. I started my account in Spanish actually, but when I noticed this, just for fun, I decided to start posting in English. And that's when my posts started to get more visibility and I started to gain more followers. And I reached out to some designers. Actually, every time that someone sent me a DM making me questions, I try to reply in the best possible way because I was in their position, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember that one designer replied to me, Lauren from the Muse Studio. I saw one of her reels and I feel like I connect with this girl and I sent her a DM. She told me, let's have a call. And I had a call with her. And at that moment, I changed. Like my mindset changed at that moment because being a Cuban and coming from a place where the mindset about money is so different, I think that was the most complicated for me. After that call, I went from charging $200 to $1,000 per project. I think social media is like what really changed everything for me. And I didn't have like that many followers at that point, like I have now. I had followers, but not the amount of followers that I have now.
And how many clients were you typically getting at that time when you were charging about $1,000?
Okay, at this point, I was also working 9 to 5. So I was doing Instagram, I was working on my job that was designed to, but that takes time. So I was probably doing 6 clients, 7 clients per year. Once you charge $1,000, you think, I can do it better. I can charge more. So
Yeah.
I like 2 projects for $1,000 and then I keep rising. Don't remember exactly when I found TBC.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, when did TBC and Design Biz Academy University enter, your frame of, oh, maybe I should do this?
Yeah, I remember that I saw one of your reels. I'm not sure when, but I remember that it was probably semester 3. So it was a lot of time ago.
Dang, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. And just looking at your free content, I was like getting like, I can do this, I can do that. Like, it's not that hard. But at some point, I knew that when I had the money, I was going to actually like join TVC. And because I was thinking, if with the free stuff, I'm like owing all of this, if I join one of these programs, I'm going to, do amazing. And 2024 was actually a hard year for me, the worst year of my life. And I was saving money to get out of Cuba. That was the reason that I wasn't joining. Like, I had the money. At some point I didn't have the money and I'm going to wait. When I had the money, I'm going to join. Then I had the money, but I wanted to get out of Cuba. That was something that was really important for me because there I had a lot of limitations. I remember that when I actually decided to join TVC, I sent you DMs. I needed to have VPNs to be able to see the classes.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I forgot we had to do that.
Yeah. And that was another situation that was holding me back for not to join because I need a VPN. I actually had to pay for a VPN to be able to join. I have a great salary and I also live with my dad and he paid for a lot of things. So I use my salary to basically do my hair, my nails, and eat outside. Like,
Yeah.
I was with all the money that I was making in my business to leave Cuba. And I quit my job the 3rd of January 2024. And 2 weeks later, I found out that my mom was sick. And on February 14th, I found out that my mom had cancer. So one of the things that my mom told me once she found out that she was sick was your plans. She looked at me with the doctor there in the room, and the first words that came out of her mouth were, "Melissa, your plans." And I was, "Mom, I will have time to do all that." But having my mom in that situation changed my mind in a really, I think, positive way, because I went from I'm saving all my money to I want to take advantage of the money that I have to do things now. So I not only had money to take care of my mom, but I also started to invest in my business. I bought a new laptop, I bought an iPad, I bought things to like improve my, my work. And I wasn't posting that much at that moment because I was in a really weird state of mind. But I asked my mom, should I do this now? And she told me, you should do it now. Like, now is the moment. And I was really afraid because the time that the doctors say that she had left was about the time that the semester was starting. And I felt like, what if I join and my mom die and I'm not gonna be on the state of mind to actually do TVC? But she believed that I could do it. She told me, you have to do this. And and my mom died, and 2 weeks after that, I was starting DBA, and that was the best thing that could happen to me, because I have said this other times. It was like therapy for me. Like, that was what I was needing at that moment in my life, because that took me out of how bad I was in that moment, and the community, everything in DBA was like the best experience in the best moment. Like, I wait for years for join, but I joined it in the right moment for me.
Wow. I just want to take a minute to say thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing that. And you are one of the strongest women I've ever met. I knew you were going through a hard time during DBA, but the way that you carried yourself and the way that you showed up and just everything Like even through those times where you were down, you kept going. And like I think that that's such a testament to just the resilience that you have and what can happen when you find the positivity even in the darkest moments. So thank you so much for being willing and open to sharing that story, because I think that that's going to hit home for so many people. And I'm also so sorry that you had that experience, but at the same time, I'm grateful that it did bring you into our community as well.
I'm grateful for all of you for being there for me.
Wow, that's like one of the like big, like I've never had somebody share something so deep on the podcast before like that.
Yeah, I I have no problem with saying that. I actually didn't share on my social media that my mom was sick until months later. Like she was like really bad. I remember that I made a reel. I never made that kind of reels, but I made a reel like acting like these are the things that designer moms do, because I was in that situation with my mom and I decided to make that reel. And after that, I started to share more about what was happening, and there's a lot of people, that is going through a lot of bad things and we don't know. And sometimes to the people that are not living that, it's like, oh yeah, cancer is bad. I'm sorry. I was one of those people. But
Mhm.
when you actually go through it, I still cry every time that someone says, oh, I have this friend of this family that have cancer. And when I actually shared that on my Instagram, I got a lot of DMs from people that was also going through a lot of shit. I I didn't reply to those DMs because of course I didn't have the mindset at that moment to
Yes.
reply. Eventually I replied to everyone. So I have no problem. Like I think that say these kind of things, this is also important, not just for the people that are going through something similar, but to the other people that are out there that know that we are doing this, but we have personal life.
Yeah.
And you see, I have a big following, and people always think, oh, I see you on social media, you are so happy with all your pink colors and all. No, but I'm I'm going through a hard time. And yeah, I'm really, really grateful for DBA. Like that time there, I was so focused on the homeworks and the things. I have always been good for school. So I think that that was one of the reasons that my mom pushed me, because she knew that when I get into it, I was going to have my head on it. And I was so pushing myself because I wanted to have good grades and I wanted to do everything on time. And also like the meetings with all the groups, it was awesome. Like that's something that I need to say, because I remember that other girls also in the halls also was going through dark moments in their lives. So yeah.
You know, we hear community over competition all the time, or collaborate and like be a part of a community. That is what it looks like when you're in one of those spaces. It's not just about leaving comments on the internet and liking people's posts. It goes way deeper than that, and you can really form genuine friendships and connections. I also want to know more about your money mindset and like raising your prices and all that stuff. What was that like for you as someone living in Cuba?
To start, Cuba is like, I think, no other place in the world. They teach you since you are a little kid in a school that having money is bad. Like
Mm.
people that have money are bad people. They teach you that in a school. It's not like, no, 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 no. They teach you that in a school, in history class, everything that is about Cuban revolution, all that. So money mindset is a complicated thing for me. It was hard for me to understand that someone was going to pay $1,000 for what I do. But the more that I did it, the more I proved myself that I actually could do it. And I also had the mentality that Latinos are cheap labor. So I was thinking, if I'm in Cuba, if I am Cuban, no one is going to want to pay me that kind of money because everyone is going to think she's Latina, she's Cuban, she comes from a poor country. I won't like pay that much money on this person. But like I said, after the first time that I saw that someone was like open to pay the price for my services, for what I can do, I started to change my mindset. I still think sometimes, but I think it's not like about the mindset, it's about imposter syndrome. Like if I'm not good enough, or what if I'm not delivering enough? But I think that the biggest challenge with the mindset was that I was raised to think that having money was a bad thing. And also Cubans don't have international bank accounts. So I had this friend that was the one that opened my Instagram account. And at this moment, I still like send all the money to her. So I was thinking like, if I charge a lot of money, how that will impact her bank account. We already figured things out because we have been doing this for a lot of time now. But at that moment also how I was going to balance things to actually being able to be paid, I had these two things against me, that the internet connection and that I didn't have access to a bank account. The people that are listening this, if you have those two things, you already won. Like because like where and how I'm going to connect to the internet to be able to do this. A lot of people, even in poor countries that are not Cuba, have these things that Cubans don't have. So yeah, I don't know.
And you did it anyway. Like that's what I'm saying. That's why you're one of the most amazing transformations, because you had so many disadvantages in front of you, but you still, like, you outperformed some of our other students who had far more advantages than you. So what was the most you had charged for a project before DBA?
$5,000.
And now, after graduating, what is the biggest project that you've booked?
$11,000.
I literally remember after you graduated, you were still going through some things. And I remember voice messaging you, and I was like, Melissa, I'm on a mission to help you book a 10K client. And then, like, we messaged back and forth for a while. And then eventually you messaged me and you're like, I just booked an 11K project. And I'm like, I knew it was going to happen. I knew it.
I think that the biggest fear is like when you send the proposal and you start to think, what happened if it doesn't get approved? It will get approved or not. And I got to a point like I wasn't even care. Like I just sent it.
That's how you have to be. That's the trick. You just have to not care, even if you really need the money, even if you're scared to death, you just got to do it and be like, I don't care either way. Like, it is what it is. And that's when those things happen. That's when you book the big projects.
After I had this call, this client, she was already convinced that she wanted to work with me, to be honest. But after I finished the call, I knew that I did a good job on the call. You always get like nervous. I get twice nervous because I have to speak English. And sometimes I thinking in Spanish and I have to speak in English. That's something that you cannot do when you're speaking two languages. But I always get two eyes like nervous because of that. But she was like really open to everything that I was saying. And I felt like she's listened, and she's not just like, sometimes clients come with a really, really harsh idea of what they want. And it's kind of hard to get to them. And at this point, I am really convinced of who are the people that I want to work with. and I felt that on that call with this client. I actually have booked another big project, and I feel that on the call.
You're calling in those dream clients because you rebranded and you worked on your messaging and all that.
The people that comes to me because they know that I am the right designer for them. And it feels great, like when you actually understand and you actually see, because I was nervous because I wanted to move out of Cuba and I had to spend a lot of money in 2024, but I was convinced that I wanted to work with a dream client if I was going to do it. And even if I wasn't like booking the projects before, I was confident. That's the word. You have faith in me. And I was confident that I was going to book the project. And it happened.
Yeah, and then you got to move out of Cuba and like everything kind of fell into place. But I think part of that is because you just like you held that faith that everything was going to work out and like you just trusted, like I got this, even though you had so many challenges along the way.
I was surprised of when everything happened so fluid, like I booked the project and I got my visa and I then booked my flight. Like the next day that I got the visa, I booked my flight and I came here. And then we found an apartment and everything have been happening so great till now that sometimes we worry about things not happening in the way that we want. But at some point, all the things that happen leads you to these moments where life just go like great. I feel so grateful. I'm in the moment where something bad happens. It's okay. Something great comes after this. I don't think that anything worse that would happen to me last year can happen now. Like,
yeah,
I'm alive. I'm even thinking I don't want that many clients. If I can book these big projects, I don't want that many clients. I want to be relaxed and I want to have time to do things, to meet this new country because Spain is a big place. And I think that the way that you think life and your goals change over time. Probably when I joined DBA, I was thinking I want to have a client per month. I don't want to have a client per month. I just don't. I want to have enough money to be able to know Spain, to travel, to, go the months and buy and cute things and change my place. Because if you follow me on Instagram, you will see that in Cuba, I had this big bedroom with a lot of things. I don't have that yet, but I'm working on it. I have this vision in my mind of everything that I'm going to do here. So at this moment, I just want to have enough money to do those things, but don't worry that much. And I want to have time to, create things on Instagram because I think designers struggle with that a lot. And I really like it. I got to the point where I really like to create content. I really like to record things. I don't post stories every day because I don't know. I sometimes look at your stories and I think, okay, I could do that. But then I forgot. I forgot about the stories. But creating content is something that I really like. But when I have clients, I'm not great at creating content. So that's my goal now, like being able to have time to create, because the most content that I post on social media are passion projects.
What is your unapologetic review of Design Biz Academy University?
I think that the entire interview have been my review.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Good answer.
The most important thing for me when I joined DVA was that I wanted to rebrand and I wanted to have a website. That was something that I didn't have. But the fact that in DVA you get the homework and you have the calls and you get the grades for the homeworks. Seeing myself not procrastinating my own brand. That's really hard for design. We always want that our brands be this amazing brand that tells everything about me, but then we have to create it. And that's where we get stuck. And I created the most amazing brand for me.
I can't stop telling people about it. I'm going to slap it all on the screen so people can see it. It is literally one of the best. I keep bragging about Melissa, but she's incredible. I can't help it. Literally one of the best websites, one of the best brands, one of the best photo shoots I've ever seen come through this program. Like, I love your website. I love your branding. You just did such a good job with everything, and you were such a good student too, even with all of those challenges.
Yeah, I think that was the most important for me, like the guided process, because it was like having a client, but I am the client, but you are the client.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that was the thing that I loved the most about the program, because maybe for other people that joined the program that I just started, that are like trying to figure out how they are going to present themselves on social media, how they are going to market the services. That's something that I have already done. That's something that I had when I joined GVA. Of course, I learned a lot on that too, because let's be honest, I wasn't getting the right clients to book the $11,000 project, but that wasn't one of the things that I was more focused when I joined GVA. I was more focused on me, on how I could improve my brand and my process, and that part like was amazing. Like, this was the best course that I could join, because I made another course before GVA was cheaper. I have to
Yeah.
say it didn't have that community part, that homework. I think that's something that I haven't seen. Like, I have gone through a lot of courses because I like it. I really like to be in the process of learning things, and I haven't seen another course that have this structure of the homework. I'm going to give you the feedback for the homework, and then I'm going to send you more homework on that thing that you just did. I love it that. Like, I was so sad when I saw the 3 months like finish, because I really enjoy it, like being in the course and knowing that I have to show up for the calls and all that. I really love it.
And I love that you point that out, because we hear that all the time. Like, a lot of designers go take other courses because they're cheaper. Like, it's no secret that we are a big investment and that it is scary for a lot of people, but we're a big investment for a reason. It is not like other programs where you just enroll and then watch lessons. Like, it's not like that. It's hybrid. It's like we really get to know our students. I mean, everything you just said. You have to show up, and like there's people expecting you, and like we're waiting for you, and like we're there like typing out real feedback on everything you're doing. That's just not something you see very often. And it's really easy for designers to choose the other thing because it's cheaper, but they're missing out on that community connection, accountability portion that so many people need.
I will say it like a million times, but the part of building the brand, that's something that I haven't seen in other courses either. They just, you have to do this and this, but how do I actually build a brand that communicates everything that I need to communicate in order to those other things that you are teaching me work? I think that most courses focus on the process and how do I market my services, but I need to have other things in place to being able to those things like work. It's an entire thing, and I think that DBA is really complete on that, not just because the structure of the course, like I said, but because it goes through like the details of business with the course. Like, that's something that was really valuable for me.
If there's a designer listening to this right now and they're like, not charging a lot, maybe they're not based in the US, maybe they're having a lot of the challenges that you faced, what advice do you have for them?
It takes time, but also having the mindset that you can do the things, like not just be there thinking, oh, I have this, I can do this because I have this and that. That is not possible for me. I had a lot of designers that told me, I would like to be that good for like you someday, or I would like to be able of doing things. You just do it. I had 63 followers for like a year. I asked my friends to follow me on Instagram so I could reach 100 followers and I could like unlock things on Instagram. So I was there. I just was consistent enough for enough time to see the results. And once you decide that you are going to do something, the things start to appear in front of you. It's like, if you think that you cannot do something, you are not going to see the opportunities that are right in front of your eyes. Not because it's not happening today, doesn't mean that it's not going to happen tomorrow, or maybe in an hour, it's going to happen. And believing that you can do the things is the half of the process. Like saying, I can do this, and you are going to find the way to do the things. And join DBA.
Join DBA. You heard it here. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm going to link Melissa's Instagram handle below so you can go check out her work and everything we talked about. But yeah, it was great having you on. If you want to hear more designer success stories, go ahead and subscribe to the Unapologetic Designer podcast. If you want to join our design community at the Brief Collective or enroll in Design Biz Academy, information on how to do that can be found in the description.